Because both Andrew and Tristan Tate have spent the last few years trying to build bonds with the Trump administration and even with members of President Donald Trump's own.
For the past 3 years, almost every argument Andrew Tate has pushed has leaned on one major belief. When things got serious, powerful people in America would step in. But this week, that whole idea was put under a very public spotlight. The U.S. Secretary of State, the official reporters have repeatedly described as potentially having a decisive role in this extradition battle, was confronted with the question directly, right there on camera.
They have been
Mention me by name?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, look, that extraditions, I don't know the details of this particular case. I've been overseas, but I mean, I know who you're talking about. I just don't know the details of it. These cases have a process that they go through in the courts. My understanding is that they're involved in that judicial process. And so that'll play itself out at this point. And there's no role for us to play at this moment or maybe ever in that regard. But I'm not going to opine on something that's still working through a legal.
No role at this moment, and possibly no role ever. That's the answer, guys. And it changes the whole picture. Based on that response, Trump does not appear ready to step in and block the brothers' possible return to Britain following their Miami arrest on fresh sex abuse charges. For Tate specifically, that could be a brutal development. He has spent countless podcast hours claiming the cases against him are politically motivated, while also building connections with American political figures. But right now, those connections don't appear to be delivering the intervention he may have hoped for. Trump has shown no public sign that he wants to get involved, potentially leaving just one country with the power to seriously change what happens next.
And it turns out Kamala admits that we move the fucking needle. That is a flex.
In a recent 3-hour podcast, Tate laid out what he describes as a serious legal chess move. According to him, this strategy could completely shut down Britain's ability to extradite him, potentially changing the entire direction of the case.
I think the Brits are in a quagmire because, like Moby Dick, in their haste to get hold of me, they didn't quite understand the complexities of extradition and also the brutal inefficiency of Romanian law. Because the Brits tried to extradite me, and the warrant has been satisfied. I will be extradited when my Romanian case is complete. My Romanian case is on a prosecutor's desk. If the prosecutor closes the case, Romania owes me $1 billion. So it's in the prosecutor's interest to keep the case open on his desk, a case he can't fix, until he retires. Because if he closes it, they owe me $1 billion. And the UK can't get me as long as that case is open. The UK are pissed, calling the Romanians saying, close the case if you don't have a case. And the Romanians are saying, we're not saying we don't have a case, we're saying it's difficult to fix, but we're going to try because if they close it, they owe me $1 billion.
Multiple countries running separate legal proceedings at the same time creates a serious legal mess, and Tate believes that chaos could work in his favor. His argument goes like this. Romania got to him first, that case is still open, and Romanian authorities have already agreed to hand him over to the UK once those proceedings are finished. But Tate claims Romania won't be able to convict him, and he says he's pursuing a massive counterclaim if prosecutors fail to secure a conviction. From his point of view, that gives Romania a reason to keep the file open indefinitely, because an unresolved case is still a case they haven't officially lost.
So the UK, when James Altmaier wrote to them, were like, we can't technically do that legally because we've already tried to extradite him and the extradition warrant has been satisfied. So now what happens? When I fly around the world, like I was just in Hong Kong, is that the Foreign Office of the UK call the hotel and try and get me kicked out of the hotel. That's how petty and pathetic they are. The owner of the Rosewood Hong Kong, which is the top ranked hotel in the world, by the way, #1, it won in 2026 the best hotel in the world. The owner of the hotel is a friend of mine. And he came to me and said, you will not believe the British government just called me and told me that you're a criminal and that you have an active extradition warrant out of Romania and that we should kick you out of this hotel. I said, the British government has time to call hotels and try and make me, I mean, what does that do? It doesn't extradite me. It just inconveniences me. I have to go get another hotel. They are spending government money trying to inconvenience me by getting me kicked out of hotels because they can't extradite me because the Romanians won't close the case because then the Romanians owe me money because I haven't done anything.
Whether you believe Tate is innocent or think the allegations against him should lead to serious punishment if proven, one thing has drawn heavy criticism. Romania's handling of the case has been messy. Authorities arrested him during the pandemic, right as his global profile was blowing up, yet years later, after he remained in the country under various legal restrictions, there still hasn't been a conviction. Proceedings have repeatedly hit legal setbacks, delays, and procedural problems. And this month, Romanian authorities announced another move to keep the case going, with another round now potentially ahead. This legal battle could drag on for a seriously long time.
Girl A, I'm going to talk about her history in a minute. I go back to house arrest. And finally, because after these 3 years, I've never had a trial. I've never had a chance to present evidence or anything. I've never had a chance to say, oh, by the way, do you know girl A accused 10 other men of sexual assault? Do you know girl A accused her father of sexual assault? Do you know girl A is on psychiatric drugs? Do you know girl A has been sectioned? Do you know, I don't have a chance. I have the evidence, but I've never had a chance to present it.
What was that last part you said? Girl A has been
Sectioned.
What's that mean?
Taken to a mental institution against her will.
Their most recent filing reportedly involves somewhere between 30 and 35 alleged victims, along with major financial exploitation claims. And despite the sheer scale of those allegations, Tate still has not been convicted of anything. Romanian authorities have kept him under house arrest at different stages, while he says he has been dragged back and forth to court well over 100 times. Yet after all those appearances, the legal fight remains unresolved.
I haven't beaten a trial. I haven't gone to trial and won. No, I've never been to trial ever. Every single nation state which came out with this garbage, which is pushed by George Soros funded NGOs, has attempted to find evidence to put me in jail. And they never, Romania, England, never found enough evidence to even get to trial. 6 years I've been waiting to prove my innocence, and I have never, ever had a trial. What I've had is accusations. What I've had is Twitter detectives thinking they know more than judges.
At this point, one realistic path forward could be Romania and the UK working out a direct legal arrangement. That could potentially allow the British proceedings to move first, while Romania's separate case remains waiting in the background.
That is people bringing up decade-old videos saying I said something which was uncouth 10 years ago. But a comedian can make a joke on YouTube pretending he's racist or a cowboy. It doesn't make him racist or a cowboy. YouTube videos are not real. You need victims, you need medical records, you need proof, you need a date, a time, a where, a when. You need people to testify against you. You need evidence. I have never even had a trial ever. And I've been begging my lawyers, get me to trial. Take this to trial. I want to prove I'm innocent. Let's get all the facts out there. Let's go to trial. Let's show that I'm completely innocent from head to toe. And no nation state has ever managed to even get me in court.
The range of possible outcomes here is seriously strange, guys. There's even a scenario where two governments end up competing over custody of the same man. America could hand Tate over to Britain through the existing extradition process, only for Romania to approach the UK and ask for him back so its own proceedings can continue. Some kind of agreement between Britain and Romania may ultimately be where this lands. The arrest also triggered calls from prominent Republicans for Trump to intervene, with some supporters portraying the brothers as targets of a politically motivated witch hunt, similar to how Trump has described cases against himself. But a U.S. official told The Telegraph that the White House planned to stay completely out of the situation, saying the case could drag on for months and that the administration had no involvement or position on it. Another surprising political angle. After Kamala Harris lost the election to Trump, she released a book discussing the defeat. In her own account, she pointed to online figures such as Andrew Tate consistently supporting Trump as one factor she believed contributed to the wider political environment behind her loss.
And it turns out Kamala admits that we moved the fucking needle. That is a flex, bro. 2025, write it in stone, because they're going to delete everything off the internet. They're going to delete it all off Wikipedia. Write it in stone. Go to Mount Rushmore. Andrew Tate defeated Kamala Harris. He did it. Even though they were putting him in jail, locking him in his house. Guys, don't think when I go out of jail and I was in house arrest, I wasn't told to shut up. Andrew, if you shut up, if you don't say anything, this will all go away. Just wait for the election. Wait for Trump to lose. Wait for Kamala to win, and we'll let you off. All you have to do is sit and be quiet. We'll let you free from your house if you you just live a quiet life. No, they raid my house again, drag me back to jail, still don't shut up, still fight back, still fuck you. They tried everything, unfazed, last bullet, kept going viral. Kamala Harris's whole campaign fucking failed. It failed. It failed because of me. I did it. Me. And she admitted it. She admitted it in black and fucking white. I affected a presidential election. I did.
That helps explain why Sneeko, who was once on good terms with Tate before their relationship apparently fell apart, has been openly mocking the situation. His point is pretty savage. After all that time Tate spent praising Trump, building political connections, and surrounding himself with powerful American associations, none of it appears to be paying off now. When the pressure got serious, those connections haven't publicly stepped in to save him. The whole situation gets even more bizarre when you consider that the arrest happened on American soil while Tate was reportedly maintaining relationships with people connected to Trump. According to reporting, the brothers had spent several days in Washington immediately before the arrest, where they were reportedly hosted by a Trump envoy. They were photographed around Capitol Hill and also appeared at one of Washington's most exclusive private members clubs. Reports also say the former modeling scout credited with introducing Melania to Trump invited them to a summer party.
The reason they did that, thank you for the sub 90, the reason that the Tates never criticized Trump is because deep down they were really hoping that Trump would go and save them if they got arrested and if they were called to be extradited to the United Kingdom. Well, look, it didn't work, stupid. Now you're arrested. Trump's not going to save you. All that twerking you did, all that begging you did. Look now. You thought that you could sacrifice your own religion, you could sell out your own people, your own faith, apparently. It didn't even work. Trump's not gonna save you. All that slurping you did. They destroyed their reputation by throwing me under the bus, by saying they have tech teams in Israel. Sneeko did it. Sneeko played the song. Please don't arrest me. Well, now you got arrested, you stupid idiot. You refused to call out Trump, even though he's owned by Jewish supremacists, hoping that he would save you from your extradition to the UK, and he didn't. So you sold out, you destroyed your reputation, you sold out your faith, you threw me under the bus, and you still got arrested. Anybody still defending this too, now that there's charges of them holding indecent images of a child? I don't know what you have to say about, I don't know how you can keep credibility with them. I don't know if you think this is a Matrix attack. If it was a Matrix attack, wouldn't Elon Musk, the trillionaire, tied up with Mossad and Netanyahu and speaking to Netanyahu regularly by Netanyahu's admission, wouldn't Elon Musk be calling for Tate's deportation too?
The night before, that same Italian-American businessman reportedly took the brothers to an exclusive private members event near the White House, the kind of place regularly attended by powerful political figures. That's some serious access, which makes what happened immediately afterward even more striking. And the list of political connections goes even deeper.
Because both Andrew and Tristan Tate have spent the last few years trying to build bonds with the Trump administration and even with members of President Donald Trump's own family. For example, the New York Times reported last year that Andrew Tate has been in calls on Zoom with Trump's youngest son, Barron Trump. Donald Trump Jr. also called the charges against the Tate brothers absolute insanity on the social media platform X. That's the original charges from a few years ago. It should be stressed that the two brothers strenuously deny all the charges against them, although they are now facing criminal investigations in both the United Kingdom and Romania. This is kind of a big test for the Trump administration because Donald Trump spent the last election campaign really courting the manosphere. He went on several manosphere-related podcasts with allies of the Tate brothers, and the Tate brothers have kind of boasted about this relationship with Donald Trump. And that's interesting because with this extradition procedure, the ultimate say-so, whether they get extradited or not, is Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who of course works directly for Donald Trump. So this is really a huge test of this supposed relationship between Andrew Tate, the manosphere, and the administration of Donald Trump. So we're really going to be watching to see what happens.
Trump's former personal lawyer, who was removed from her role as New Jersey's top federal prosecutor in December, told Tate during a January podcast that she had his back. On top of that, Vice President J.D. Vance follows both Tate brothers on X, a small detail, but one that adds another layer to those high-profile connections. Here's what could be driving Tate's determination to fight extradition.
James Uthmeyer, Ulfmeyer, something like this. So he opened an investigation into me the second I land as an American citizen, saying that I'm a human trafficker and I'm a bad person and all this garbage. I expected to come home to a fucking hero's welcome. And I did a podcast with Candace Owens about that because even she said this is insane. You know what he did? He wrote to the Brits saying, do you want me to arrest him and send him to you? You got an active warrant. Do you want me to send him to you? I'll come get him and send him to you. He wrote to the Brits. And I'm sitting in Florida in Miami and I refuse to leave. So I keep tweeting, come get me, Ron. Come get me, James. Come get me. Come get me. Come get me. Because, Jack, I've lost my mind. I finally get free from this fucking mess. I come back to the country my father served for. And they fucking open a case on me and start saying I'm a human trafficker. Why? Because Romania said so, the country that can't even have an election? And now we're gonna repeat what they said like it means a fucking thing? I come to Florida where I'm suing girl A, and I'm attacked by the state? And I did a podcast with Candace on it because I was so flabbergasted. That piece of shit writes to the Brits.
In Britain, he faces serious political hostility. MPs from different parties have repeatedly condemned his online messaging and criticized the influence they believe his content has on young audiences. Some schools have even introduced measures aimed at addressing or limiting discussion around his content. So out of all the countries where these legal battles could play out, the UK may be one of the toughest environments for Tate politically. His reputation there is deeply controversial, and the backlash stretches across much of the political spectrum. So that's where things stand right now. The American door appears to be closed. Tate argues Romania has reasons to keep its own proceedings alive, and Britain is left waiting on a legal process it doesn't fully control. What happens next could come down to whether Romania and the UK can actually strike a deal and cooperate on who gets priority.
After I called out Elon Musk for platforming extremism, Tate's followers immediately descended on me with the flood of abuse and harassment. That was not random. That was a deliberate attempt to silence an elected representative. I was bombarded with death threats, rape jokes and abuse from accounts both local and international. Then, the Tate brothers themselves came after me. Two men running from the most serious criminal charges, propped up by the world's most powerful leaders. And they targeted me, an elected representative from Northern Ireland, for daring to speak my mind. Shocking. It wasn't even about them, it was about Musk. But it was a calculated attempt to silence an elected politician. I was, in their words, a nice target, a direct attack on democracy and this House itself. But this is not just about individuals, it is about democracy. We have seen a deliberate, organised effort to create an online environment where extremism flourishes, where intimidation becomes the norm, and where women, minorities and political opponents are driven out of
This
public
legal
life.
tug of war is far from simple, and the next move could flip the whole situation. If you got something out of this breakdown, drop a like. It helps the channel more than most people realize. And if you're new here, subscribe and let me know what you think down in the comments. Catch you in the next one.